Okay, so 45 of us. Wow.
Wow.
Nine.
A
Yeah, that's
nine.
yeah. So good, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to 45 plus us, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this month's sharing of Harmonize to Energize. My name is Terry Matthews, and it's been my pleasure and privilege to share aspects of JIN SHIN JYUTSU, self-help, and sometimes beyond with all of you around the world. And for those of you who are completely new to the art of JIN SHIN JYUTSU, let's keep it as simple as we can. JIN SHIN JYUTSU is an art of balancing life force, energy, or prana, depending on your culture, throughout energy pathways in our body. It was brought to the West by Mary Eno Burmeister back in the 70s, at least. Wayne, you can correct me whenever my dates are not quite on the ball. She learned the art from Master Jiro Murai in Japan during the 1940s when she was visiting Japan teaching English as a foreign language. The art basically is a very simple innate art. In other words, we instinctively know this, and when we look at our energy as it moves through our body, we often place our hands in different places when we feel pain. Well, Jiro Murai mathematically worked out how when we place our hands, palm side, back of our hands, or thumbs, on what Mary called safety energy locks, which are like, if you would like to give the analogy of a canal, locks on a canal or resistors on an electrical energy circuit, they're places where we can adjust how this energy moves through these energy pathways. And mathematically, there's 26 of these safety energy locks. They've all got particular definitions which relate to different aspects of how the energy works. They relate even further to aspects of numerology and astrology, which one of our guests today is very versed in. So we place our hands, back of hands, thumbs on them, and that helps the energy to move through the energy pathways to bring us into a greater place of harmony. I think that's about it. So it's a great privilege and joy for me today to have with me Wayne Hackett and Jenny Swiecicki. And perhaps to many of you, they don't need an introduction, but if you're completely brand new, I'm going to hand them over to you so they can introduce themselves, just in case I don't give them the full coverage that they need. So welcome, Wayne, and welcome, Jenny.
Thank
Get
you,
it.
Terry. Thank you so
Good.
much for having us here. And this is fun, Wayne. I'm having fun already. I'm Jenny. I've been studying Jin Shin Jyutsu for almost 30 years. And it's, when I discovered it, I was 21 and I knew it was my life's path. And I'm just so blessed and always grateful to have found it. And I also work as a birth doula. I've worked sort of unintentionally as a death doula as well throughout the years. So when Wayne and I were talking about what to present, that's been very relevant in my life recently as birth and death, physically and metaphorically. So that's where the seeds of this conversation began.
Hi, guys. And I'm Wayne Hackett. And I began my studies in 1977 with Mary. So 47 years now, and still learning and still having a good time. I want to say that it's really an honor for Jen and I to be with you folks, to have this opportunity to have a conversation. And I think Jen and I both want to encourage you to participate. Raise your hand, use the react button, or do what is needed so that you can get our attention, because what we know is we're all better off when we're all playing, we're all participating. So good. So Jenny, what's our conversation roughly?
Well, I would like to start with a self-help. So, well, first of all, I'm going to share my screen here. Oops, that's not right. Stop share. Let's see. Okay, it's glitching out, so we're gonna not share right now. So today is May 22nd, so it's 5/22, which is a 9. And you also know we're in 2025, which is a 9. So again, this topic of birth, death, rebirth, transformation all has to do with the number 9. So it's meant to be today. So let's start with, so 9 is on the back and it's harder to reach. So we can start by simply holding the 19. So just go ahead and cross your arms and put your fingers right there in the bend of your arm. And as you're doing this, I invite you to just take this moment to invite your awareness into your body. As Wayne was saying, we are in these bodies. Let us not be distracted by all that's going on outside of ourselves or even way, way out in the cosmos. Invite your awareness into your body right now. And a nice way to do that is to simply begin noticing sensations. And you may notice the place where your body's making contact with the ground beneath you, whether you're sitting or lying down. You might also notice the movement of your belly as the breath comes in and out.
Jenny, I'd like to also offer our friends that if you want to do these ones, I personally don't feel as comfortable when I hold both as when I hold them individually. So again, there are no rules in any of this, my friends. Your only rule is that you follow your heart and go with the sensation that brings a smile. So I personally like to hold them one at a time, using my thumbs in that 19 elbow area to
Good.
really good.
Yeah, so perfect example of listening to your own body. And so whether you're holding them both or just one of the 19s, also bring awareness into that area just beneath your fingertips or your thumb and simply notice what's going on there. And this is without any judgment, labeling, critiquing. We're literally being a compassionate witness to our own experience, to ourselves, to these magical energy centers beneath our fingertips. Just follow your breath as you're holding that. That's your 19, which is a helper. This is a self-help for the 9. And again, today is 9 on so many levels. So we're really calling in that energy collectively to help us to learn, to grow, to transform. And as Wayne said, he holds his 19 with his thumb. Another helper for the 9 and the 19, if you don't even feel like doing this, you can simply hold your thumb. So if you want to go ahead and hold one of your thumbs right now for a few breaths. That's another wonderful way to bring in awareness, to bring in that energy of 9. Right. And I'm going to see one more time if I can get this. Oh, is it up there now?
Perfect.
All right. So today we have exploring birth, death, and transformation with JIN SHIN JYUTSU. I think that covers everything. What do you think, Wayne?
Well, it's certainly a very kidney Scorpio message for sure. Yes. Covers
Yes.
everything.
Yes, it does. And
Good.
again, today is a 9, and 9 is the end of a cycle. which brings the seed of a new beginning. And right now, I know, Wayne, you were saying you'd like to share some of the astrology for the times we're in right now on planet Earth. There's so many things coming to an end, sort of falling apart and
Yeah.
dying.
Well, I'd say it's progressing, and
Progress.
that we are moving into a new time for sure. The energies are changing. So many of the planets, and especially the outer planets, are moving into new signs themselves. And one of the biggest things that's happening is a lot of energy happening in Aries. As we leave the Piscean age, we're moving into Aries, and that's new beginning and pioneering. So maybe we can talk about that as we get further into the story of this 9 of change. And the entire year, my friends, is a 9-year. So not only today, amplified 9, but the entire year is a period of endings and beginnings. Number 9.
Yes, so it's a great time for all of us to bring awareness to those things. And I would like to share from my perspective as a birth doula and a death doula. I'm often sort of witnessing those transitions for people. And something that I've learned, well, through JIN SHIN JYUTSU and then also in my work as a doula, is one of the most important things, probably the most important thing that I am able to bring to offer to the people I work with is simply my presence. And in JIN SHIN JYUTSU, we talk about being the witness. I believe Mary used to say we're simply the witness to the transformation of energy. And again, that has a lot to do with that 9 energy. And so that's something I really think is so important, and that also that we're able to do that for ourselves, not only for one another, but really to begin to witness ourselves. And I think there's a lot of talk these days about, consciousness expanding and our awareness. And well, we'll get into that. To me, that's a lot to do with the 13s, which is also so powerful for this. Well, 13 is Scorpio, right? It's Scorpio, it's kidney, it's transformation, it's reproduction, fertility, all of that. So
Jenny,
that's
I'd like
something.
to add something too here, because
Yes.
when we do something for ourselves, we are doing it for other people. I want us to acknowledge that our connectedness never ends. We are always connected. We are always in the unity. And so in some ways, the world and culture and teaching sometimes distract us from being involved with ourselves. It's like other people are more important, or philosophies are more. No, the teaching of JIN SHIN says, I'm the most important. We can honor that and not feel selfish or arrogant, but live in gratitude that I have this ability to take care of myself. And one of the gifts I give you is I'm taking care of myself. That's really a different way of understanding relationship. And I feel that it's something for all of us to honor. In taking care of ourselves, we are giving a gift to the world.
Right, definitely. I think it's you who used to always say there's only one of us, right? There's only one of us.
Exactly.
And so the more
We as one.
we
Yeah.
is one. Yes, and that's that song. I'll just share this quick story. I was just with a new client, and she knows nothing about JIN SHIN JYUTSU. And it was kind of a hurried visit. So towards the end, I just was showing her the high 1. I said, I showed her to hold this. She's like, ow, that's sore. I said, yes, so hold this. It's going to help with your nausea, with the spinning thoughts. And then that was that. She left. And when I got home, she left me a text saying, this is totally random, but as soon as you held that point on my thigh, I got this song like going on repeat through my head. And the song is called 1 is the Magic Number. It's Jill Scott. You all should listen to it. And that's the chorus. And it's basically, yeah, talking about that there's really only one of us, and I got to focus and take care of myself. So that was an example of the magic, I think.
Yeah. That of the unity, of the oneness of us all. Right.
Yes, exactly.
And again, friends, these centers of energy that we call safety energy lock, or some of us now using personal energetic center, these are energetic beings. These are living, dynamic functions and actions that unify all of us. And they allow us to be, as Mary used to say, we are microcosms of the macrocosm, everything out there in the universe. even the unknown out there in the universe, is represented in our bodies through these 26 beings left and right. So let's get to know our best friends.
I love that. So let's go back to this back here. So what, in line with what you were just saying, Wayne, well, here's our 9th depth, which is no thing. And that's, again, that could be a whole week-long conversation. But I
Yeah.
like this quote from Deepak Chopra saying, no thing is not an empty void, it's the womb of creation. So then we have this visual. I love thinking about pregnancy, birth, that cycle of the 9 months. And then I'm bringing us down here into our bodies because that's where we are at today to explore. So safety energy locks are here to support us through these times of transformation, right? These are our best friends. And if you get to know your safety energy locks, you're getting to know yourself inside and out. And I love sharing the self-care because I really have experienced and believe that the more we're able to help ourselves, then you're going to just easily be able to help others and share with others instead of having to just memorize all this information. Just learn these from the inside out, and it will come naturally to be able to share. So
It's back to relationship, right, Jenny? I mean, a
yes.
relationship with a friend demands time and attention. And so that's what we're going to have to put into the relationship with each of these 26 beings of light.
Right. So perhaps we can begin with 3, since you're talking about relationship. And when we spoke last night, you were talking about this little sequence.
Yes. Yes. Well, one of the things we learned early about number 3 is it's known as the door. And what I've been stressing for a lot of us, for all of us actually in recent times, is that doors have 2 functions. They open and they close. And right now, I believe it's really important that we have the discernment needed to know when to open and invite energy in and when to close and say, no, thank you, I'm not interested. This is a really important piece of number 3, and it's immunity. It's not only that door that opens, there's times that we need to close the door and say, no, thank you, I'm not interested. So that's an important piece of number 3, the door.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was going to say also with the unburdening, well, so you mentioned immunity. So sometimes when we forget to close that door, or we're unaware, or there's this label, that's so popular, codependent, when perhaps I'm taking on the luggage from other people, whether that's I'm taking on other people's emotional states or, their own dysfunction, disharmony, whatever, that's going to pile up on top of the shoulders. The 3s are back here. For those of you who don't know, at the top inside edge of the shoulder blade, that's where your 3 lives. And if we pile those burdens, that extra baggage on top of the shoulders, it's going to back up and impact. The 3s can't do their job. As my dear beloved friend Marilee has said, she goes, the 11 and the 3 like to move in together sometimes, and it gets all tangled. So
well, in JIN SHIN history, they were actually the same area when Jiro first began to develop the story. The 11,
really?
yes, they were. There was only that one area, yes, in his first 15 safety energy locks.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. And so it goes back to what you're saying though about relationship, and there really is only one of us, because when I can take care of me and close the door, as Wayne, you're saying, close the door, I'm not going to be, taking on that extra burden of you. I'm only responsible for me. I get to drop my shoulders, my mental state clears, my immune system's happier, relationships are more harmonious.
And I would like to bring in a piece here about the astrological information. And by the way, folks, I'm not talking prediction. Astrology for me is about physiology, not about prediction. We've all got enough going on right now. We don't need to be thinking about tomorrow, in my opinion. But Venus is related to the 3s. And what I really appreciate about Venus is she teaches us what's important. She gives us ideals and values. And that's vitally important right now. So much is changing. so many people are offering new ways of thinking and ideals and values. My job is to find the set of values that work for me. And that's related to your threes, friends.
Yes. And 3 being the respiratory specialist. This is one I actually utilize quite a bit with women in labor. And I mean, often it's more so like I'll just put my hand up there on the top, which is the 11 and the 3, and remind them to breathe. And I cannot tell you how many times I've come into a home or the hospital room and I see moms like this, because the instinct when they're feeling the intensity of the sensations of labor is to kind of contract, to tighten up, to clench, right? And as we know, the shoulders are related to the hip line, the pelvis. So when your shoulders are up to your ears, the pelvis is going to constrict. And so it's so simple, but often just putting a hand there and reminding moms to take a long, slow breath in and to exhale helps labor progress. And it helps them maintain a calmer state of mind, which is everything. I had a client last week, actually, she had her 5th baby, and I would love to interview her. She was so calm throughout the whole thing. And there was a lot going on, a lot of chaos happening. And she said, I've learned. I know if I get all crazy, it's not going to help anything. And I was like, you're amazing. You know, you got it. I barely needed to remind her, but so that has been my experience, that the shoulders, the 3s, that can be a really powerful helper. And also reminding women while they're pregnant that it's going to help boost their immune system, help the stress level, is to simply, I like, this one where you just swing a hand over the shoulder and put the other hand in the groin, the 15. Did you want to share that little sequence, Wayne, you were speaking about?
Sure. Well, one of the things we learned years ago, and Mary's message about simplicity, she talked about the immune system and said, if you will wake up every morning and put one hand on your 15 and the other on the same side, 6, and cross your legs and do that. So I'm holding 15 and 6 in the arch of the foot. Thanks, Jenny. And then once that feels good, I get a change in consciousness, I move my hand to number 3. So 15 and 6, 15 and 3 on the same side. She said, that's a great boost for your immune system. And especially during times when there's a lot of talk about various projects that are going on, like we have today, all the concern about COVID or new things, new stresses. This is a great thing to add to your routine to take care of yourself. And Jenny, I want to say one other thing about 3. 3 is related to Venus, and Venus is the planet associated with the second depth. And the second depth is the depth that brings common sense. Okay. So there's a connection, a really strong connection between simply breathing, letting go of everything and receiving abundance, and 3, bringing value, ideal, and common sense, which by my observation is sorely lacking in today's world. There's not a lot of common sense. So relationship to 3 and second depth and Venus, very, very important, folks.
Right. I love that connection, Wayne. And it has me thinking back to also just when we're dropping our shoulders and really being in our own space, right? Allowing ourselves to open that door or shut that door, not taking the burdens. We're able to have a clearer mind and common sense, right? Rather than getting caught up in all that's going on around us. So,
And again, offering a phrasing from Mary, she talked about allowing your shoulders to melt. And so even sometimes the doing of being dropping the shoulders, it's not about doing, it's about the allowance of the shoulders to melt. And that vision of my shoulders melting is one that I really enjoy, to see that action.
yes, I love that as well. Shall we move on to another helper?
Good.
See, okay, let's go to, I have this little thing in the way here. Ooh, how about 15?
Ah,
All right. Well, we were just speaking of 15 with the sequence, right? So 15 is in the groin here in the crease between the hip bone and pubic bone.
yes.
15 is joy and laughter. I love 15 because it helps us to exhale. And I've been noticing in my own life recently, I'm like, oh, my 15s must be more open because I find myself laughing a lot more frequently. So if you find yourself laughing a lot, that's a good sign that your 15s are happy. And
That relationship of 15 and 3 is throughout Jin Shin. It's just constantly, well, 15, 1 plus 5 is a 6. So from the numerologic side, 3 and 6 constantly partner in Jin Shin, whether it's the depths or the personal energetic centers themselves. They're great partners, great partners.
yes, and Wayne mentioned this quote earlier today about the 15, and I have this actually on my bulletin board in front of my desk to remind me. 15 clears the subconscious, and when properly cleaned and positively programmed, it is your best friend for life. And I know for myself personally, that's been hitting home more deeply over the past few years. It's like, what on earth am I creating? Again, Deepak, he has this thing about consciousness. Consciousness is simply a projection. There's just one consciousness, and what we're seeing is a projection of our collective consciousness, of our cultural conditioning, of our personal worldview. And when we change that, the whole world changes. However, a lot of that subconscious stuff is not always so easy to see because it's a part of our attitudes. So what are your thoughts about that, Wayne?
Well, I really like 15 in part because it's so much about the Capricorn nature, and again, in the art of Jin Shin, the personal energetic centers or the safety energy locks have relationship to planets and to signs and to elements, many, many, many relationships. And the Capricorn energy helps us with utilizing the gifts that we've been given. Its key phrase is I use. And so working with your or playing with your 15s will help you to use what you've been given in this life. Your tools of development and growth and harmony. So I like using 15 from a very practical standpoint of application of what I've been given.
Yes. And it's a really wonderful one, practically on that note, for replenishing the physical body, right? So many of us have these lifestyles where we're running around the go, 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 busy, and to just simply stop and put your hands in your 15s really helps to replenish, bring that energy back up, helps us to exhale, to laugh, to let go so we can receive and take care. It's also what you were saying earlier, Wayne, when we take care of ourselves, and this is on, we also, that includes our physical bodies.
Right. And then the 15, of course, we learn in the study is very much involved with the heart and helping the heart to be that most perfect of organs that feeds energy to the whole body, pumps that life-giving energy throughout the body. So 15 in the heart, closely connected.
Yes. And this is certainly one, the 15s with pregnancy, with birth. I always make sure women spend some time with their 15s because, of course, we want to keep the pelvis open. There's so much going on in the pelvis. It's mind blowing. And these days, thankfully, there's pelvic floor therapy, which is a relatively new um, branch of medicine and of therapy that thankfully is being offered. And it's amazing all the different ligaments and muscles that are involved with keeping a happy, healthy pelvic floor and, of course, pregnancy. And so just simply holding the 15s can be such a great support during pregnancy,
Good.
during labor. I tend to go into some other things more in labor often, but I will say the 15s help with the back pain because that's something common as moms get further along and they're getting ready for birth. And this reminds me, Wayne, of how when we were speaking yesterday, you were talking about how planetarily we're in this birth canal or
Yes.
a time of collective rebirthing.
Yeah. Two things. I'm gonna step back just a second to simplify for us again. We've talked about number 9, and you can help the 9 by holding your thumbs. We talked about number 3, and you can help number 3 by holding your middle finger. And now we're talking about number 15, which we help by holding our little finger. So that's a really important sequence that you can play with: thumb, middle finger, and little finger. And all of a sudden, there's not so much anxiety in the world. There's not so much concern about tomorrow, and more ability to be right now in the body where I am. So I like that.
I love that. Look how that just naturally happened.
Yeah. No accidents, Jenny. There are no.
Right? We're
So,
calming our earth element. We're harmonizing our earth.
and folks, we are in a huge time of transformation. Absolutely. Everybody knows it. You know, I grew up hearing about the age of Aquarius that was coming. Well, we're in it, and probably have been for about 100 years now. And the Aquarian age is about new ways of thinking. It's about the value of the individual, and about fairness and equality. So it's going to be a really new dawn for all of us to move into this individual expression and have the encouragement rather than the discouragement to be ourselves, to be the unique expression that we are. And again, honoring that I'm the only one that can give the world me, my gifts, my abilities, what I have to share with others can only come from me, my gift to the world. So again, we're going to find in this Aquarian time the encouragement for that unique expression. Also, what's happening, and it's certainly happening here in the United States, you know, Pluto is so very, very important. Pluto is a place of transformation and change. And Pluto has a cycle of about 243, 45 years, depending on its ellipse. But anyway, 245 years ago was 1776, and the US was birthing. Planet Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. And so I encourage us as Americans to recognize that we are going through a death and a rebirth cycle. And it's hugely important that we move through that process. Not always pleasant, but we can be confident that we're coming to a new beginning, a new way. We had a full moon recently that was full moon in Scorpio, amplifying that movement. And it really signified that, you know what, folks, like all Pluto actions, once begun, they cannot reverse. We are going to go, okay? We can go joyfully, or we can go crying and screaming. We're still going to go. And so in the art of JIN SHIN, this time of dramatic change, I feel, is a time that we need to honor our 22s and to really adapt to what none of us really knows what's coming. No one knows about tomorrow. What we know is I can take care of me right now, hold my 22s, be present in my body, and that will allow me to be prepared. That will prepare me for whatever's coming. So these times, I just watched the Bob Dylan movie again on the airplane, and the times, they are a changing, folks. Absolutely. So let's move with them. Let's go with it. We've got the other thing that's happening is Neptune is going into Aries. Okay, happening in 2 days, I believe. No, Neptune already did. But what's happening is that Neptune and Aries last happened in 1861, which was when the Civil War began. Okay, so not only do we have all of this death and rebirth of the nation, we have this incredible message about fairness and equality and justice. And so all of that is coming together for a very, very powerful time of redefining ourselves as human beings, and certainly as Americans. Jenny?
So that has me think about our 13s. Is it up on the screen now?
It is.
Sort of
Good.
perfect timing. Speaking of the death and rebirth, all of that. And also Wayne was showing the 22s, another way we can sort of self-help. I like doing this hug if you put your fingers in your armpits with your thumbs up towards the collarbones, you're going to be holding the 22 and the 13, which is about 3.5 ribs down. And 13 is really such a powerful safety energy lock for us right now, because it is this creativity. It's using our imagination for the good rather than getting caught up in the, the doom, the gloom, the regrets, the guilt, the hatred, all of these things. Simply giving yourself this hug is a really wonderful way to come back to center, to call in that power of self-love, forgiveness. This is the inner child. This is the best thing for pregnant moms. Supports the reproductive function. And
Everybody
really,
likes a hug, Jenny. You know, it's such a powerful tool for harmony, right? But
yeah.
I don't know how many of us have looked at the word in English with the English alphabet. Hug is a 9. H is 8, U is 21, which is 29, and G is 7. It's a 36-9. So again, this year is a great year to hug yourself, to be that new you that you are.
And really use our imagination to envision what we're desiring for our world, for ourselves, for our loved ones, for our whole planet.
Yes.
And the 13s teach us that. They lead the way. It's not only our fertility, literally in utero, it's, our creativity, our fertile imagination. And whereas so earlier we were holding the 19s, which help the 9, which open up the waistline, the mind. 13 is it's the heart, it's our awareness. It's this, everybody's talking about consciousness expanding right now, right? Our collective awareness is opening. And this is a great way to kind of keep yours on track rather than allow it to spin off into the fear.
I would also remind us that 13 sits in the area of the thymus.
Yes.
And the thymus, although for many years sort of neglected, thinking it was becoming obsolete or no longer practical, the thymus keeps us childlike. The thymus helps us to be that curious, innocent, childlike being that each of us is. And so it's also very much involved in the T cells and the immune system. But I really like its childlike contribution to my thinking, to my awareness.
Right. And it also supports the immune system.
Right.
Right. So we have the thymus gland and then, of course, the lungs. And when you're doing this hug, you're getting your lymph system here in the 26s as well as the 22. So really, really powerful self-help. And it feels good.
Yeah. Or you can hold your middle finger.
Right.
Simple again. Each of these energetic centers have a relationship to one of the 5 fingers. And so learning those relationships, getting to know those individuals, and then holding the finger that speaks to and with them will be a great tool for you to reconnect with the energy of that personal energetic center. Again, these are the energies of the universe, folks. They represent every capacity in the universe. All things that are possible out there are possible in here, in me, because of these 26 beings left and right.
I've been on a little roll actually with holding my middle fingers for self-help. I was thinking of Jiro, and so the first 2 mudras Jiro utilized were the front of the middle finger and the back side of the middle finger. I mean, in those 8 mudras, I think the middle finger is included in 6 of them. So it's a really important finger. And it's also, when we look at the hand, it's our center line. So it literally, it's a helper and connects us to our main central vertical, that central channel.
Well,
And
for
so,
those of us, I'm sorry. Go
oh,
ahead.
so I've been drawn to hold mine lately, and I think of my main central as I'm holding and go into the breath.
Well, again, bringing Mary's message to us, the middle finger is the general harmonizer of all. Mary Burmeister. It is the quickie for your 17-step Trinity flow, middle finger. So it's so powerful and so simple. In fact, the mind sometimes has trouble with its simplicity. How can that make a difference? All I did was hold my middle finger, common expression. Well, that's because we don't yet know all of who and what the middle finger is for us. So spend some time with it. It'll speak with you. Yes.
Right, and that Trinity flow is such a powerful cleaning, has a powerful cleaning action and
Yeah.
rejuvenating, which many of us need in these times for sure, right? And I always like think about, I think for so many years I thought about the cleaning in terms of cleaning the physical body, and I'm now my awareness has expanded where a lot of the cleaning is going on in the mind, the subconscious. There's so many levels of that cleaning, and which also makes me think about when we're doing this hug in the 13s, where this center sternum right here is where fourth depth, kitty bladder live on that main central. And fourth depth is the bridge from the physical body back to source, back to sixth depth. And it is the janitor. It helps us to take out the trash. So that's another way when you're holding, you're giving yourself this hug, you're supporting your body's ability to take out the trash so you can reconnect with the cosmic breath, reconnect with your source.
Good.
Remember, I think we're always connected, but it gets kind of cloudy.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we lose that sensation of connectedness.
Right,
And
or the awareness, right?
or the awareness, yes. And it is a sensation. What I want to emphasize again for all of us, we can feel this. There is a sensation associated with being connected to source. And that takes time to identify it. Like any experience, you've got to allow yourself to be in the unknown and open to what that experience will bring. So since we're in the midst of such incredible change right now, folks, none of us really, as I said earlier, none of us know where we're going. The best way to prepare for tomorrow is to be happy today. A happy today builds a healthier tomorrow. That I know. And so our distraction from what's necessary, our distraction from taking care of ourselves will only cause us more pain in the future. Let's get in touch with who we are right now, today, and be that perfect expression of that imperfect expression of perfection. Actually, that was Mary's language again. We are perfectly imperfect, the best me I can be right now. And so this time of transformation and change, exhale, let go, and feel the wonder and the excitement of being in a body.
Yes, and that's back to the 9 really. And I'd say my motto over the last 2 years has been step by step. I'm like, all I need to focus on is this step, and that it leads to the next. So
And my motto this year has been, again, Mary's teaching, focus on harmony. There is so much distraction in the world, folks, so many unknowns, so many areas of violence and unhappiness and pain. And so we're not going to put our focus there. Our job is to focus on harmony and have our focus be so complete that there's no room for disharmony. If I will be harmonious, there's no need. I don't have to fight the disharmony. I'm focusing on harmony, and that's where I'm going to live, in that awareness, right?
yes.
There's that quote, I think I shared it with you yesterday, Jenny, a quote that I really like a lot for all of us today. You can curse the darkness, or you can light a candle. And that's who each of us is. We're light beings. And by being that light, the world around us will be illuminated. It is our service. Okay. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time fighting with, oh, I wish this wasn't happening and I don't like that. And then be the candle and let your flame illuminate the world around you.
Right. And use those moments. I use those moments as opportunities to sort of like be a mindfulness spell of like, oh, where is my focus? And remember where I want to focus. And also when you were saying it's a sensation, right? This feeling of being connected to source. I mean, literally it's chemicals, it's hormonal, it's hormones. And the 13 helps with hormonal balance, but we have stress hormones. So cortisol, adrenaline get released when we're in like, probably when we're watching some of the news, when we're afraid, when we go into fight or flight, versus we have dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin released when we're feeling loved and connected and joyful. So these things are literal chemicals moving through our physiology, and we have the power to shift that with our thinking, with our practices. And again, our safety energy locks are helpers. These are our best friends who support us always in the movement towards harmony.
And that you're being a real biochemist now, aren't you, Jenny? All this biochemistry and all of this about the endocrine system and the way those chemicals are introduced into the body. And what we know is that chemistry is everything from one perspective. When our chemistry is in balance, our physiology happens as it's intended. So maybe we could spend a moment. In fact, I'm thinking right now, Jenny, let's support that by placing our hand on the top of our head, right hand on the top of the head, and your left hand in the center of your 20s, of the center of your forehead. And for those of us who are interested in the scientific story and the body and anatomy, what we're helping with this action is the hypothalamus, the pineal, and the pituitary glands, which are in the very deepest center of our brains. And they roughly regulate and control everything about the chemistry of the body. The way we deal with light, the way the hormones work, they're so important. This one thing, if we simply will remind ourselves to be biochemically balanced and allow the endocrine system to do its job, we're going to be a happier, healthier species, right? This, you reviewers, you students know, this is the first step in the flow that we call the main central self-help. So if you did nothing more than this first movement, you're accomplishing everything. Keep it simple, kids. Good, Jenny. Thanks.
That felt good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wayne.
So again, folks, this is not just another year. Okay, let's not be concerned. Things are happening as they should. The universe is unfolding, and we're a part of this process. Right now, we're in a huge time of change again. So with change, so what we started a conversation, number 9. 9 is about change. If you bring in the study of the Tarot, which some of us enjoy, it's the card of the Hermit, number 9. And so what's going to be required for all of us is spending some time in the cave of our being, in our own human awareness. And that's going to require some solitude, some alone time to remember who and what we are. 9 brings discernment. Again, quoting Mary, the greatest gift of number 9 is the attainment of discernment. That's a huge statement, guys. The greatest gift of number 9 is the attainment of discernment. That means I'll know what serves me and I'll know what doesn't. I'll make choices that are common sense choices because they serve me and they help me to be happier and healthier. Number 9. No more victimization. I don't feel victimized because if it doesn't serve me, I don't want it. So it's a way of shifting our consciousness into this new world, this time of new beginnings. Number 9 is a big key for the whole year.
And 9 opens the waistline. And the waistline is that place where our mind gets involved. And along with that can be the judging, the labeling. And I always go back to, I had the blessing to study with Thich Nhat Hanh when he was alive and spend
Oh,
a month
nice.
with him in Plum Village. And one of the things that always stood out to me about the teachings, he said, like, so judgment was, according to Buddhism, it's like the last thing on the ladder towards enlightenment. And so I think if we can open those waistlines, use number 9 or your 19 or your thumb to really help clear that monkey mind and all of that judging, labeling, critiquing, we're gonna, be closer. And I mean, enlightenment, we already are here. It's just, it's a state of awareness, a state of consciousness. So I
And Jin
find,
Jin teaches us that when we're judging people, we have no time to love them. Right? Isn't that a great reminder that where I put my thoughts, if it's in judgment and condemnation and critical nature, there's no time for loving people. The mind can't hold two thoughts at the same time. So right now, in this moment, we can be loving, we can be kind, we can be compassionate, and we can let go of the judgment and criticism. If I'm busy judging people, I have no time to love them. We're choosing in every breath where we put our focus. Hey, Jenny, maybe we should open it up to our friends out in the world. Maybe they'd like to say something, make a contribution to our conversation.
yeah, for sure.
Anybody got a hand up? I can't see the screen really well, so maybe.
Yeah, I know. I'm like navigating through
Oh, good.
No one has a hand up at the moment.
no one has a hand up. Oh, somebody raised a hand. Ellen.
Oh, there you go.
Great. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, it's so lovely to see you both.
Oh, Ellen, yay.
I just, when I saw that the subject was going to be about birth and death and transformation, I was like, well, my gosh, that's been my subject all year. So I just was really thrilled to see this. I've had the privilege of helping 2 people transition in the past month. And I don't know exactly what to say out of that experience, except that it was transformative for myself as well. And I just was thinking, Wayne, when you were talking just now, what came to me was a picture of how messy both birth and death are, and that we can't be distracted by that messiness. We need to see what the goal is and just keep our eyes on that. I don't know if that's just what I wanted to share.
Ellen, great. Well, thanks for being with us. And that's, what you reminded me of is the messiness of change.
Yes, exactly. We're going through a messy time. I mean, it's a very messy time right now. And all these things are trying to grab our attention,
Keep your focus. Good.
and we have to just really keep our focus, and this is one of the best ways to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. I would also like to share Bruce Lipton. You folks may know of him. Wrote a great book, Biology of Belief, which if you haven't read it, I recommend it. It's really good. Anyway, he talked about change and chaos as being necessary. The chaos is a part of change of any situation from one place to another. And he used the analogy of the caterpillar who goes into a cocoon to later emerge as a butterfly. But if you interrupt that process, if you take and open that cocoon in the middle of this transformation, you don't see a butterfly. You see a gooey mess. Everything has broken down and decomposed, into this mushy gooiness that in time becomes a butterfly. So graceful, so beautiful, but had to go through that messy time of breaking down. That's where we are, guys. That's where we
Yeah.
are.
When you said birth and death are messy, Ellen, I was thinking, and life, life gets messy. But you just explained it beautifully, Wayne. And I wanted to say one other thing. My heart is with you, Ellen. And something I found again with being with folks who are dying and being with their loved ones is that presence and I feel like being JIN SHIN JYUTSU practitioners and students, gives us that real advantage of having that experience of being witnesses, being those compassionate, loving witnesses. And that's just means so much to, from what I've witnessed of people going through the dying, to have someone there just holding that presence. So I'm sure you were a blessing to them.
Absolutely. And birth is the same thing. It's really a time where we just, I've been in the birth room as well, and it's beyond words. You're right, Ellen. How do you talk about the magic and the mystery of that process? Either way, of coming in or leaving this world, it's a magical, mysterious process. And our job is to move with it. Life is motion, whether in this body or not. Everything is moving.
I
Who
see a
else?
couple more hands raised. Julianne.
I think Joanna was before me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Joanne. Oh, I see Joanna. Yes, Joanna C.
Yes, hi. I was just having a conversation with someone the other night about how some indigenous populations, the elders know how to easily leave their body when it's time for them to die. And in our culture, we don't usually have that. And some people really struggle to get out of their bodies, even if their body is ready to end. I know that we can use the fours to help ease the dying process, but I'm wondering if either of you have other things to suggest. I live in a community of elders, and there's people dying here a lot. So it would be nice to be able to help people pass if that's needed.
I've always worked very intuitively when I've been with people who are dying, and I would say like everybody has needed something differently. I think of kidney flow. I've held a lot of fingers. I mean, I've certainly held fours, but there's some people I've been with where I'm just holding fingers. I'm keeping things very simple. Also opening the breath. I've had a few instances where going into the 10 to help open up that breath.
I would suggest what we learned as breaking down the cross. And that was a very simple action where we either held both thumbs or we hold both big toes. And what this does is it breaks down the drama and the trauma of that transformation. And it's a very relaxing. I personally like the toes better because when you're holding someone's thumbs, they don't feel quite as mobile and quite as free to move around. So I go to their feet, let them know that I'm there on their big toes, and just watch this unloading of all the stress around the transformation. So I would offer that. You may be in a hospital bed, dealing with a hospital bed, but the toes are generally available. Go to the foot of the bed, find their toes and love them. I like it.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Who else there? Now, Juliana.
Yeah. So my mother was in palliative care in a hospital, and we were told she was in a coma. And my father and I went in, and it was all silent. She was not responsive. And I felt very compelled to palm her calves. And when I did, she let out a very loud, audible moan, a moan of like release or even pleasure. And I'm sharing this story so that as practitioners, to encourage us to place our hands however we feel intuitively to be drawn to do. And I just wanted to share that.
That's a
Right.
great message. Really
That's-
good.
That's been my experience, is really like just showing up, and I might have an idea, but then as you were very called to her, calves, that's been my experience. I go where I'm drawn to go.
You know, folks, I'm also reminded now that the 17s are a great place to go, because both 17 and 16 deal with transformation. In Mary's teachings, 16 was transforms and 17 is the transformation. And so in holding the 17s, you're supporting that change, that transformation. And I'll also remind us, it's the anchor step, the first placement in the heart function that gets us in touch with our true fire, passion, and desire of the heart. So another great place to go is to hold their 17s, to help them to get in touch with their heart, their message, their passion. And if they don't want that, or it doesn't feel good, I've sometimes been with folks near death, and when I attempt to touch them, they put my hands away because they're directed. They know what they're doing, where they're going, what's happening, and they don't want me interrupting that process. And so what I do is I come back and I put my hands on me. I hold my 17s or my middle finger or whatever I'm guided to do, because that then will support not only me, but them in their process. So don't be concerned if they push your hands away. It sometimes happens. Don't you think, Jenny?
Yeah, I've had that experience as well. Not necessarily pushed away, but I just felt like they don't, they're not in the space. People often need space to let go. I mean, sometimes I've seen people wait until everybody literally leaves until they let go. Again,
Very
everybody's different, but yeah. So, and I
Very.
love that. So just hold your own 17 or fingers or whatever it is.
Yeah, good.
Um,
I love the story about mom's moan. That was a big exhale, right? That's a letting go of all that tension. That moan of pleasure is letting the shoulders drop and allowing yourself to feel the joy of life at whatever stage. Who else we got?
like Susie Pletner.
Oh, great. Hey, Susie.
Hey, Wayne. It's good to see you. Hey, Jenny. Well, actually, Wayne, when you talked about the 17s, it reminded me of an experience that I had with a client that I was helping to transition from cancer. And it was during COVID, and she was really having a very hard time accepting that she was going to be transitioning. And she was in great resistance. And I came to give her a session. I would give her a session like 3 times a week during that time. And I came and she was close, but she was struggling. She was fighting. She was, she couldn't respond to me other than, a little bit of a little bit of moaning. So I just knew that I was there, and I wanted to see if it was okay for my hands to be on her body as well, because sometimes they don't need that. But she accepted it, and I just really went with intuition. I think I don't remember everything that I did. I know that I went to the 4s. I think I did maybe a little bit of the 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I just had this intuition. I did the little finger function energy, going into the 17 and the shoulder blade. And her breathing really regulated, and she stopped fighting, And her boyfriend, who was there, who didn't really believe in Jin Shin Jyutsu, he just thought I was, you know, coming and not doing much. He saw her shift, and I got a call a few hours later, and she'd passed. And I was grateful that, you know, I think she was able to pass more peacefully and not in a place of resistance. But it really gave me, and you know, and that little finger function energy. I was like, wow. So just wanted to share that story, and thank you so much, Jenny and Wayne, for the presentation. It's been wonderful.
Thanks, Susie. Yeah, that little finger is just a continuation of that 17 line, and so there's a very strong connection of that effortlessness of the little finger, and no struggle.
That reminded, just quick story. I had a client, it was my friend's mother-in-law, and I was helping in the end of her life, but she really didn't believe in this at all, and she'd kind of scowl if I'd show up. But then at the very end, I was there, and I was just there helping. I wasn't putting my hands on her or anything. And she said, "When are you going to do that fingers and toes thing?"
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, she wants it." And then she was, you know, receptive.
You know, and Jenny, just because we put our hands on somebody doesn't determine, we're not determining the outcome. Because I'm
Right.
reminded of a time I was called to the home of someone who was dying. They were in hospice and near death. And so I went, and they asked, I put my hands on, and I did. And after a few minutes, the person threw up, evacuated everything, the fluid in the lungs, evacuated all of that was causing the breathing to be disharmonized. And I went back to holding, and before long he started snoring. And in fact, after quite a while, 30 minutes or so, I said, he's not dying, he's snoring, he's sleeping. And so the next morning he called me. And so it was just a great reminder that we're not in charge of what's happening. What happened was I helped him to let go of the distress he was carrying so that he could have another 7 days without morphine, without any more pain, to have more time to say, I love you, and remember the times that we did this and that. I thought I was helping him die. And the reality was I wasn't doing anything. The light was helping him, giving him a little more time to complete his journey. So take away any concerns that you have of you're doing anything. You're not. You're being a part of the process, helping the light to guide the journey. Good.
Okay, folks, well, time is running on, so I don't know if we're going to get to all of you. Gabriella? Gabriella, unmute yourself. Okay. Stephanie.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I wanted to share. I could help my mom on her way to the next, back to the light by holding the sevens mainly, and I gave her other sequences of Jin Shin during her last months. But holding the sevens opens the fourth, and she just peacefully slept.
And it feels so good to be able to help in that situation, right? It's kind of a helpless feeling when someone you care about and love is going through that process, and to be able to participate in a way that makes their journey easier, it's such a great gift.
Yes, I afterward I sang a blessing to guide her soul a little bit further, and it was very successful. She went to the light. I could see it a few days later. Thank you.
Great, Stephanie. Thank you.
Claire?
Did Gabriella come back?
Yes, I'm here. Can you
Oh,
hear
you
me?
are. Okay.
Yes, great.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Lizzie, and thank you for taking my call. I'm in the UK. Many years ago, I was near Washington, And me and my friend, we went into a bar to have something cold drink. The temperature was over 45 degrees centigrade. Going into a bar, I felt this energy enveloping me, and I felt that death is near, although I was in perfect health. And I told the barman to call the ambulance. Shockingly, and luckily for me, the ambulance arrived in 3 minutes. There was nobody else but me, and my friend was somewhere in the gents. Coming out, I was surrounded by ambulance, and me, I was sitting at the edge of the settee, holding my little finger. I knew that if I hold Reiki, whatever positions, it wouldn't help me. I was just beginning to read about Mari Burmeister and bought the book many years ago. And I went straight to this, and it saved my life because my blood pressure was 260 over 260. And they said that they've never encountered this ever in their lives, and that I damaged the equipment after that. Incredible. I'm in the habit of picking up energies around me, and it happened again around this cottage, which is 200 years old. I've been here for 15 years. Is it something that I'm attracting? I know that I've got like a high energy or clear energy with the good thoughts that I'm doing for a lot of people. Am I a source that feeds some dark sort of energy that finds me around when they need more from me? And how can I protect? Shall I do this? I don't even know. Should I hold this, or should I hold my little finger? What do you think? Thank you so much for listening to me. What do you think I should do?
That has me think of what Wayne was speaking about earlier with the threes, that we can close the door and we can open the door. And so just holding your threes is one of the options, because that's it is the inhale and the exhale. And it's also, when I was speaking about, we tend to carry other people's burdens and baggage and energy. So when you keep those shoulders clear, you're just responsible for yourself. And that's on all levels.
And I'm a part of a distance healing network as a Reiki master, so I get weekly people that I am in charge of, to make them feel better. So after I do the work on them, if I hold the three, either this one or this one is going to help me.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Yes.
Without a doubt. Yes, absolutely.
Right. So that is my key to freedom, and it's going to let all the rubbish fall off me. In other words.
Focus on harmony, Gabriela. Keep your focus on the light, and there is no darkness.
When another entity or whatever it was followed me here, and it stopped me in the tracks to enter the house, and my brain started moving. I could feel it inside my skull. I've never experienced. And then I said, okay, this is the end, but I don't want to finish now. I've got a lot of stuff to do for people. And
for yourself, I might add.
Probably, yes. Because I constantly wonder, why is it happening to me? And I know that I'm helping people, but is this what it is? Is it a good job that I'm doing? I don't know. I mean, you don't know me. I don't know myself, really. I've got to trust that this is my mission, yes?
Absolutely.
And it sounds like you're very intuitive.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
It's sensitive. So again, Jenny's reminder, I think, is really good for you. That door opens and it closes. And when you find yourself in a situation that feels not light, then you close the door and say, no, thank you.
God bless you for all your wisdom and for being with us. It's the first time I've ever met you, and you read as well. But I would like to see you again. Thank you. I'm really grateful. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Terry.
Thank you. So that brings us quite neatly to what's happening with Wayne and what's happening with Jenny. Do you want to talk about any classes coming up or anything?
Jenny?
Sure. I actually, so this Sunday, I have a 3-part series starting. It's called Somatic Self-Care for Stress Relief and Resilience. And it will cover the basics of JIN SHIN JYUTSU with an emphasis on, really upping our self-care during these times that we've been talking about. So that starts this Sunday. My website is naturewisehealing.com. I can put it in the chat. If you go to Naturewise Healing under classes, there's a link. I also am continuing, I have been for the past 5 years now, leading guided self-care meditations on Zoom. And it's tonight, Thursday, 9:30 p.m. New York time, and Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. New York time. And those are also listed on my website, Naturewise Healing.
Yeah, do you want to put that in the chat then,
Yeah.
Jim? Yeah, perfect. Wayne, anything happening?
Yes, I'm heading for Strasbourg, France soon for a class in Strasbourg on 7, 8, and 9 of June. And I've just recently confirmed that we're going to be holding a class in Colorado Springs in August. So I'm really happy about my return to Colorado and where I lived for so many years. And those things are available. If you want to write me at Wayne JS Guild at gmail.com, I'll be happy to share with you my schedule and information. Again, that's Wayne JS for JIN SHIN Guild, our new school, at gmail.com. And if somebody could put that in the chat for me, I'd appreciate that. Be happy to hear from you.
Just so it's just Wayne JS, not JSJ. Okay.
Oh, JIN SHIN Guild for our new school, Terry. JIN SHIN
Yeah, okay.
Guild.
That could be why my emails.
I think it is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, that's been
Thank you, Terry. Thank you for the work that you're doing, for the good that you are for the world, and for promoting this kind of time for us all to come together to be a part of the wholeness and the healing that's so necessary. And I am grateful to you, Terry, for you making it possible for all of us. So thank you. And to Jenny, it's always fun to be with Jenny. She's such a delightful smile. I love you, Jenny. Thank you.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you, Terry. Also,
Oh,
I always love
thank you.
presenting here. And thanks, Wayne. This was fun.
Good.
So many nuggets there. So those of you that want to review this, there will be a replay between now and 48 hours. And I certainly will be reviewing it myself. So much wisdom there. Lots of opportunities now to reflect on the wisdom. And I'm extremely grateful to the pair of you for sharing that today during these times. Such relevant information, so appropriate. So I'm going to stop the recording now.